Hello everyone, this is Yana Smakula for Pretty Pink Posh. Thank you for joining me. In this video, I will show you how to make Happy New Year cards featuring Pretty Pink Posh Happy New Year stamp set and coordinating dies. Let's jump right in. I have several cards to share in today's video, and the first two cards use a fireworks stencil to create a background. I love to use stencils for quick yet impressive backgrounds for my handmade cards. I've started with a piece of black cardstock cut to 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. I've taped the panel to the stencil using low-tech tape to make sure it is going to stay in place. Next, I used Tonic Studios Nuvo Glimmer Paste in color Plum. It is a beautiful purple and makes a great background for a New Year card. I've applied the paste evenly onto the paper using a palette knife. Once the paste is applied, I can remove the stencil and reveal our beautiful background. Now, it is going to take the background some time to dry, so I'm going to set it aside for now. Now, be sure to wash your stencil and the palette knife, as once the paste dries, it will turn hard and it will ruin your tools. So make sure to take your tools to the sink and wash them. For my next background, I don't have the color paste that I want, so I'm going to make it using the supplies that I have in my stash. I'm using white texture paste, and once again, I am applying it evenly onto the paper using my palette knife. Once again, I'm using black cardstock. Once the paste is applied, I'm removing the stencil and covering the background with gold glitter embossing powder. This will give me gold glitter fireworks background for my card. I love this trick for when I don't have the correct color of glitter paste. It is easy to make and the results are always stunning. Now, this background will also need some time to dry, so I'm going to set it aside for now. Remember to wash your stencil and the palette knife. Now let's go ahead and do some stamping. I'm using several images from the Happy New Year stamp set and stamping them in Copic marker friendly ink on white cardstock. I will be coloring those images using Copic markers, so I need to make sure that the ink I'm using is alcohol marker friendly. I've stamped a champagne bottle, wine glasses, as well as 2 party hats, a smaller and a bigger one. I did very simple coloring to bring these images to life. I used G99, G94, and G21 markers to color the wine bottle, or the champagne bottle. I was having trouble picking the right colors to have that true bottle green color, but I figured these colors will do. I also used E33 and E31 to color the labels and the cork. I also used Y15 marker to color the splashes. For the wine glasses, I used just a single V12 marker. I knew I will be placing those on the purple background, so I wanted the glasses to match in color. I wasn't too careful coloring them, as I knew I would be adding a gold mirror piece on the inside of the glasses to look like liquid, and also I would color outside the lines. I would color that black. But we will get to that in a minute. So that being said, I wasn't careful coloring the glasses purple, and I know my marker went outside the lines in a few spots. As for the hats, I used C10, C9, C7, and C5 markers to color the party hats black. I also used R39, R27, and R24 markers to color the ribbon on the hats. Pretty easy and simple coloring. Nothing fancy. Now comes the most fun part. So I knew I would be adding these images to pretty dark backgrounds, to black backgrounds really. So I wanted to color the image outlines black to match that background. It's a simple trick, yet it makes all the difference in the world. Sometimes when you have that white outline, it looks really stark and it looks out of place on a dark background. But when you color the outline black, it blends with the background. I do encourage you to give this a try if you haven't already. You can use a black Copic marker or a black pen, anything black really, to color the outline black. Here I used black Copic marker, but mine is a little bit dry, so I later switched to a black pen. Next, I'm stamping the same images of these champagne glasses onto gold mirror cardstock. It doesn't matter what ink you use unless it is stays-on ink. Any other kind of ink will not stay on the paper. It will smear or wipe off, and this is actually exactly what we want. I'm using my detail scissors to cut that liquid part out. Next, I'm wiping the ink off the image, and I have the liquid part for the glasses ready, and it doesn't have the black outline, so it looks really cool on the die cuts. Now, there are coordinating dies available, and I used mine to cut these images out in my die cutting machine. Next, I'm going to work on sentiments for these cards. I have a piece of craft paper. I've treated it with anti-static powder to eliminate any grease or static from my fingers that might have ended up on the paper, and I've stamped the message Pop, Fizz, Clink in clear embossing ink. Next, I'm adding gold embossing powder and heat setting the powder to melt it using my heat tool. I have two sentiments here, as I'll use the same message for both of my fireworks background cards. With the sentiments created, the embellishments made, and the backgrounds dry, it's time to assemble the cards. I've trimmed the sentiments into small squares, and I added a gold mirror panel mat to each. Next, I'm using foam tape to foam mount the sentiment panel onto the background, and then using the same foam adhesive to adhere the glasses to the card. Before I do that, I'm trimming off the bubbles that were stamped with the glasses. I'll add bubbles later, but I will use gems for that. I'm also using a black marker to color over the edges of the die cuts so that they don't look white and don't distract on the finished card. If you used a Copic marker, a black Copic marker, to color the outlines black, the marker probably went into the paper and the edge doesn't look white. But if you used a different medium, like I did here, a black pen, that pen did not go directly into the paper, and thus the edge of the paper remains white. Now I can adhere the liquid pieces made from that gold mirror cardstock, and all that's left to do for this card is to add the little bubbles using Pretty Pink Posh gems. I used gems in Midnight for this card, and they blended perfectly well with the background. For the second card, a bit more work was needed to complete the background. I used my heat tool to melt the powder that is covering the texture paste, because remember, we used the texture paste, and then to add color to the paste, we added embossing powder. And embossing powder needs to be heat set. So here I used my heat tool to heat set and melt the powder over the texture paste. Next, I brushed away any stray glitter particles from the background using a dry paintbrush. With that done, I foam mounted the sentiment. It's the same one, Pop, Fizz, Clink, and also added a champagne bottle on top. I added a little gem on the top of the label of the bottle, and this card is done. I have another card to share, also created with the same stamp set. Here I stamped several glasses in a row. I colored them using gold glitter pen, added Happy New Year sentiment, and foam mounted the two black party hats on top. I also used my white Sakura pen to add some white shading to the sentiment and to color the bubbles above the glasses. Here's a look at the 3 cards I shared in this video. I hope you like them and you'll give the ideas I shared today a try. If you make something inspired by this video, we'd love to see it. Be sure to share it on social media and tag us. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment below. Thanks so much. Love you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye!